Okay, all right, Madeline, you catch me on another walk here. So I just wanted to talk about this and say this because I know that if I have gone through this and it still comes up as me sometimes like questioning myself. Oh, am I being too rough? Is this too much, toughness, tough love, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, let me just get into it and kind of tell you what I mean. So if you're someone that struggles with setting healthy boundaries, like emotional healthy boundaries for yourself to just protect your energy and not to feel drained or, like bad about yourself, or just like, bad about yourself or tired or feeling guilty or blah, 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 blah. I think one of the hardest things is setting healthy boundaries, respectfully and compassionately and with love with our family. I feel like that's the hardest boundary to set, is the ones with our family that might mean well, or they may say something because they are worried about you or just really care about you or whatever. But you're noticing that when they say this thing about, I don't know, maybe you showing up more authentically on social media, or when they say this thing about maybe your weight, right? Or they say something or have an opinion about, just whatever it is, like your values, your goals, or whatever. And they might say these things or want to talk about these things or these topics because they're worried, or they want to give you advice because, they're really good at this thing or blah, blah, blah. But it's not like, but you didn't ask for their advice, or how they share their advice or feedback comes off in a judgmental kind of way. Like, that's what I mean. These people, to where emotionally it's not good for you. You feel unsafe when you're around them, unsafe from a standpoint of to where you maybe feel judged, or you feel like, oh my God, here's a know-it-all again, and they're going to want to talk about this topic, or whatever it is, and it drains you, it's not good for you, that it kind of just like gets you in a place of like maybe negative self-talk, or you're just like constantly second guessing your worth, right, or your value, or questioning, well, is this relationship really healthy and loving, or like does it have conditions? Like, I have to show up this way or say this or act like this if I'm going to keep the peace or have them approve of me. Like, does that make sense? I know I'm rambling quite a bit here, but this is just like off the cuff talking about this. So here's the thing. If anything, what I've said so far to you, huffing and puffing, is landing. You're like, oof, wow. I don't know like how or why, but that really speaks to me or hits me hard. Then you probably need to set some boundaries with your mom, with your brother, or with your bestie, right? Because lately they don't know how to talk about things like respectfully and with an open mind. They come off in a very judgmental, pushy kind of way, and you're like, you don't like it, right? So that would be a sign that you need some self-respecting boundaries there. And look, I get it, like how scary it can be, and I also get how you may fear hurting someone's feelings with setting this boundary, or that you feel guilty or bad about doing it. But what about you? What about your inner child? What about the part of you that doesn't feel seen or heard or understood, right? Like when you're conforming to keep the peace or to, go along to get along, like what about you? How is that making you feel? That's a question I had to ask myself last year. And I got clear with myself. There was 2 people in my life specifically to where I'm like, they're family. And I'm like, man, I really love them. I know this person's going through a tough time, but they don't really seem to be doing much to help themselves. And I can't keep showing up and giving when they don't even want to make the change. That's one person. The other person is just very, to me, seems very, they're just like very intense, very serious all the time. Their energy is just very heavy, meaning like just very like strong and like almost devaluing to women. And I love this person and I know they mean well, but they haven't yet learned how to communicate respectfully and with being open-minded that not everyone's going to agree with them. And then having like a conversation around that to where it can include both people and having a conversation to where like we can hold space for different opinions, right? So that person wasn't able to do that and they haven't been able to do that for a long time. So I had to do this very difficult thing that kind of made me feel bad. Was really setting this boundary coming from a place of love and respect. And I was able to communicate it very well with him. And I was very proud of myself to do that. And I felt bad for a while, but then I'm like, that's just the programming and conditioning and just the cycle of our family. They're family, love them no matter what, they're your blood. And I'm like, no, not if I don't feel safe. Not if I feel like I'm going to be criticized or I'm going to get yelled at or, deflated. If we can't have a conversation, like on common ground. So I felt guilty and bad for a little bit, but then I feel like after I set that boundary with that person, my inner child was like, oh God, I feel so safe. I feel, really the main thing is just safe and seen and heard, right, by me. That's what that feeling came after months of setting that, self-loving, self-respecting boundary with that person who's like the aggressive and very intense type kind of personality. Like, it did not feel good for a while. Like, I felt guilty and like, oh my God, like my other family's like, wow, Nikki's tough, or wow, she's very sensitive. So that like second guessing of that boundary and me really speaking my truth to them with love, I was second guessing that for a while. But then after a few months of continuing just to do my inner work and to show up for myself and, to do the practices and the things that I, taught you guys about in these videos. And then I teach, you, my clients, if you're watching, like these day-to-day things, like this is how you can start to just normalize within yourself, feeling worthy, feeling safe, right? So I don't know, I just felt called to come on and talk about this and share this with you today on this little walk here. I gotta head home and hop off here soon. I have hopping on a coaching call here, but yeah, let me know. Is this like, did you need to hear this today? Is this landing with you? Is there a specific person that you really know that you need these healthy boundaries with, and like to protect the peace within yourself and to create a sense of safety within yourself? Like, let me know if you feel okay to share that in the comments. And if you want to share with me who, and if you want like, okay, yes, this is who, but like, can you tell me exactly what to say? Let's talk about that in the comments. And if you really, really want to go deep on this, join me for my free workshop. It's coming up. It's Wednesday, April the 9th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Truly Embody Self-Respect. That's my free workshop. It's the first one I've ever done. And I hope that you can join me because I think you're going to take away a lot from it. It's 90 minutes long. And if you cannot make it live, I'll put the link to register in the description and comments. But if you can't make it live, my love, that's fine. You'll get the replay. So definitely register no matter what. But of course, always going to be better if you can make it live. Then we can actually work together with each other in real time. All right, just getting home. Thank you for coming with me on my walk. I love you, and yeah, let's talk about this person in the comments and like what you can say to set this boundary in a way that feels, good for you. Okay?